Hello, I'm Lori Steiner, sitting in for Armin Budish. Welcome to Golden Opportunities.
Today, one retirement community is not just getting older, it's getting better. Join us for a special celebration. Then, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. But can you prevent cancer? We're curious to find out. We'll tell you the whole tooth and nothing but the tooth about caring for each tooth in your smile. Plus, we'll tour a special place where people are carefully cared for while living and dying. And will your Medicare coverage travel with you on vacation?
It's time to get geoing, so pull up a chair and join us at our kitchen table for Golden Opportunities. Get out the candles and birthday cake. Breckenridge Village Retirement Community in Willoughby is celebrating a huge anniversary. And we've invited David Schell, the executive director, and John Blazik, a longtime resident, to give us a slice of life at Breckenridge during this upcoming birthday bash. Welcome to both of you.
Thanks for having us, Lori.
So, David, let's start with you. I bet a lot has changed over the years. So, how old is Breckenridge Village? Are you willing to say? You're not shy about that?
Absolutely. This is our 35th anniversary, and we started from really pretty humble beginnings. We're a not-for-profit organization, and a lady by the name of Beatrice Breckenridge donated her property, and we've grown for 35 years, continuing to meet the need in the greater community.
And there is a big need, so John, I understand that you and your wife, is it Elsie?
Yes.
Elsie have lived at Breckenridge for 2 decades, long time. So what made you move there? And what kept you there, too?
Well, frankly, in the beginning, we had not heard of Breckenridge Village. So after retirement, Elsie and I attended a $2 meal in a local church with Breckenridge furnishing the meal. We then learned about BV and volunteering. One day after volunteering, we sat in the living room of a vacant ranch and meditated and prayed about, did we want to make this our home? 25 years, middle 90s, 12,000 volunteer hours behind us. We can say life has been good to us. We're happy. And
Excellent.
We look back and say, you know, we did the right thing.
Always a good thing when you think about that. So what kind of activities do you and your wife, get into at the village?
Well, after 25 years, it's pretty hard to say. We've done many things. My wife sings in the choir and volunteers at her desk. I myself have kind of taken retirement to heart, and I'm reducing my activities.
Okay.
John's a little humble, though. He's volunteered over 12,000 hours on the campus and out in the greater community with all kinds of things.
And you and your wife are in your 90s, so David, what kind of age range really is there?
Well, I think John and Elsie are a wonderful story because that's ideally someone moving in their latter 60s, early 70s, and to live independently and to stay active and to still be living independently. And to be in your 90s and to say that is just a marvelous story, and we see that all the time, Lori.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. But we have a big party to plan. So what have you planned for the big birthday day?
Well, we got cake, and on June
always cake, yes.
Always cake. And on June 21st, we're going to have a major open house, and it's going to kick off at about 10 o'clock. And then the residents have built, believe it or not, soapbox derby cars. We're going to have a slightly silver soapbox derby.
It looks like we've got some of the details of the day.
And an open house, and then there are self-guided tours in the afternoon. So we hope people will come out and hear our story and learn a little bit why John and Elsie have been so happy for so long.
All right, and congratulations on 35
Thank
years.
You.
So at 35 years old, Breckenridge Village is at the prime of its life. My thanks to David and John for stopping by to give us a party preview. Don't forget to save the date, June 21st, for the parade and the party. Come out and join the festivities. And if you'd like to learn more about Breckenridge Village, as well as wish them a happy birthday, you'll want to call the number that's coming up next.
Find out more by calling Breckenridge Village at 440-954-8359 or click to www.breckenridgeohio.org. Next, stopping cancer before it starts. But first, those tall buildings that seem to reach the sky are aptly named skyscrapers. But these sky-high structures weren't the first to earn that identification. Can you name the original source for this moniker? We'll sail back with the answer in a few seconds.
My husband and I got into the car and we couldn't do it. We couldn't pick one baby over the other. Coming to Metro changed the entire pregnancy. We actually started to become happy with our situation. We owe a big thank you to Metro. I can't imagine our family without Sam.
It's no tall tale. The title of skyscraper was first unfurled at sea to describe the masts on tall sailing ships. Those seaworthy towers enabled ships to have the wind in their sails, thus assuring a bon voyage.
It's the chance of a lifetime, a chance to prevent getting cancer. Dr. Larissa Schwartzman has prepared a path to prevention, which she's offered to share with us today. Dr. Schwartzman specializes in hematology and oncology at Metro Health. So welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And you provided us a checklist of ways to reduce cancer risk. And the very first one actually kind of surprised me, is have a good relationship with your primary care physician. Why is that?
They are our first line of defense, so to speak, because they are hopefully somebody who you will have a long relationship with. They're going to know you very well and know your health well, and they will be the first to notice any changes and prompt you to do any testing if necessary.
Okay, and that's one of the other points there is your main doctor probably is going to be one who's keeping you on track with those age-appropriate screenings. So why are those so important?
Well, absolutely. We oncologists have certain national guidelines that we follow, and primary care physicians are aware of them, and they do follow them as well, and they are aware that when certain tests need to be done, such as mammograms, PSA screening for prostate cancer, colonoscopies, etc., at what age and how frequently they need to be done.
And how early, maybe, if you've got something specific going on.
Absolutely, yeah.
And one of the things your primary care doctor is going to ask you about is your family medical history. Why does that impact this so much?
That is very important for us because having a family member with a certain cancer could potentially mean that you are at a higher risk to develop the same cancer or maybe at an earlier age. So these things are important because they guide how early you need to be screened, or maybe if you need to be screened more frequently.
And the doctor needs to know if they've had cancer and also what kind of cancer, correct?
Yes, because we frequently see patients who tell us, oh, yeah, I have a family member who's had cancer, but they are not aware of what kind of cancer, and that really makes a difference because certain cancers we know tend to run in families, or there could be some genetic predispositions. So what kind of cancer your family member has had is important.
And I bet this note comes as no surprise to me or to our viewers that having a healthy lifestyle is important, including no smoking.
Yes, everybody's aware of this, but we frequently hear from people, well, we know that people who don't smoke, they also develop cancers, and that is true, but we know that smoking puts you at a very high risk to develop lung cancer, and most of our lung cancer patients have been smokers or are smokers. Okay. So, yeah, people should stop smoking, and that reduces their risk of developing a cancer.
All right. How about alcohol? Is it a no-no also on your list?
Well, everything in moderation. So a glass of wine with dinner or champagne at a birthday party is perfectly acceptable, and most people do that. And but drinking a lot, meaning a couple of beers each day, or more than that, that really puts you also at a risk for different cancers. So
Okay.
we would like to discourage people from doing that.
Yeah, it's all the good stuff we can't do.
Yeah.
But how about eating, our diet?
Okay, well, that's common sense too. So, high fiber diet we know is preventative when it comes to certain cancers like colon cancer. So, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, we should increase those in our diet.
Is obesity itself a risk for cancer?
We know that it's associated with certain cancers like breast cancer. So, maintaining healthy weight and is
And healthy weight that goes along with exercise, which
That's right,
is
yeah.
always
Yeah,
what,
so
you know.
we cannot avoid it. So, yeah.
It's got to be exercise too. So, so fighting off cancer doing these things is a lot better way than trying to fight it off once you have it.
Yeah, so not only do you want to prevent cancer, but if you do, unfortunately, if you do develop it, it's much easier to treat somebody who is otherwise healthy, who can tolerate the treatments that we sometimes have to put our patients through, whether
Okay.
it's surgery, chemo, or radiation. So,
Good advice.
yeah.
When it comes to preventing cancer, a healthy lifestyle really helps, and you can tip the odds in your favor by following Dr. Schwartzman's advice. For more help, use the information that's coming up next. My thanks to Dr. Schwartzman.
Thank you.
Thanks.
To learn more, call Metro Health at 216-778-7800 or log on to www.metrohealth.org. Next, so many reasons to smile. Looking for places to go, things to do? Welcome to our community calendar. With an IRA, you put money in, but when can you take it out? Learn the ins and outs of IRAs at a free seminar. The event will be held on Tuesday, June 10th at 6:30 p.m. and again on Thursday, June 12th at 1 p.m. at the offices of the Lineweaver Financial Group in Valley View. Don't miss out. Get in on the info. To reserve your seat, just call 1-888-313-4009.
A couple weeks back, dentist Steve Marsh let us in on the little changes that can make a positive difference in our smiles. But what about when your mouth needs a major makeover? Guess what? Steve has a solution for that too. So he's back today to bring us the bigger story.
Hi, Lori.
So welcome back.
Thanks.
So what do you suggest, what is going big when we're talking about major mouth changes?
Well, it's funny because a lot of patients will come into the dentist sometimes just because they have an emergency, so they take care of the emergency and let things slide. So that may be one thing. Sometimes people have an event coming up, a wedding or class reunion, so they want something major, they really want, and they understand the smile is a big part of their looks.
Sure.
It isn't just their suit and their hair and makeup. So depending on what they need, sometimes we do a few teeth and need a lot of work, and sometimes a lot of teeth need a little work, and sometimes if people have really let it go, they'll do a major makeover. And it doesn't seem to matter ages. I just took care of a man who's in his 80s, a farmer who came into me and said, I've hated my teeth and I want to invest in myself. So it
right.
varies with the person.
So it's major work could be a lot of teeth, it could be just a lot of attention, but it's a much more of an undertaking.
Yeah, it can be, and we try to make it as easy as we can. And an important thing is, Lori, when I meet with the patients, as I've mentioned before, we sit around a table, and I need to know what's important to them. And do they need it quickly for a reunion? Do they need it some time? Do they want to stage it for time or financial reasons? So whatever works for the patient, it's important that the dentist gets a sense of what the patient needs and wants, just like you would do in your law practice.
Sure.
And the best thing we can do is illustrate them with lots of befores
Right, so
and
show us
afters.
some examples of what's the before and afters of some restored smiles.
Well, this is actually a gentleman very public in Cleveland, and he had lost a tooth. The tooth that he lost, Lori, had had a root canal about 50 years ago. He fell off a bicycle. The root canal and the tooth crown on top held for many years, and then it became brittle and fractured. He said, what can we do? And again, we didn't want him to ever have to go without that, so I should tell your viewers that in between we made a temporary bridge, not something that went in and out because he's with the public so much. We went for a permanent type partial, if you will, and now he has crowns across the front and gave him a beautiful smile. I'm encouraging him at some point to do the lowers, but that gave him a beautiful smile. Not so major, but 4 teeth.
Oh, this looks much more major.
Much more major, and this took 6 to 8 months. I should tell your viewers that. So here's a man in his late 70s. He had some old crowns. That's what they used to look like. He said he wanted permanent teeth. He didn't want teeth that came in and out like his mother and father, so we did implants. And Lori, those are individual implants in the back. You see white. Those are actually zirconium posts that go on the implant. They get screwed in. You can see we maintained his front teeth and prepared those for crowns. This is very different than when you hear, get your teeth in a day. That's a denture that gets screwed into 4 implants. So this is very different. So now we've done...
My goodness.
Same 78-year-old or so man. Those had crowns on top of those implants, and he can floss between them, and they're like his own teeth. And he said, oh my God, I've waited so long for this. So that was real gratifying for him and us.
Right.
This is an interesting story. He's actually a cousin of mine, and he came in, and what brought him in is his granddaughter said, Grandpa, what's wrong with your teeth?
Whoops.
And what happened with him is that over the years his teeth had moved back and forth. That happens as we age, just like a number of other things. And you can see we've restored that with some porcelain bridge work and crowns to give him that beautiful smile. And lastly, Lori, and this is a patient I hope to get on the show.
Okay.
That's her before, that's her after. Now that after is actually with temporary bridge work. Her daughter brought in and said, Mom, you've taken care of all of us. It's time for us to get some major work done for you. In her 80s, she loves that temporary reside. And I said, if you love that, you'll love the permanent as well.
Oh, amazing makeovers. Major, but amazing.
Thanks.
Sometimes major dental work is the only solution for restoring your smile, but that doesn't mean you'll need to bite off more than you can chew. To find a palatable solution, give Steve a call. His number is coming up next.
See what Dr. Stephen Marsh can do for your smile by calling 440-461-1003 or visit www.clevelandsmiles.com. Next, a new home for a newly named hospice. It's time to get up and go, an exercise minute on golden opportunities.
Hello everybody, it's Mike Carbon from Breakout Fitness, and we're here today to show you how to do a oblique twist, which is going to help us with our obliques, more importantly that love handle area. You ready to go?
I got to get rid of these little
All right,
handles.
we can do it. Here we go. We're going to start seated. We want our legs bent at about a 45-degree angle and your feet flat on the floor as much as they can be. Make sure we maintain good posture. We're simply going to overlap our hands here, and we're going to try to touch the ground to the left, and then we're going to bring them across and try to touch the ground to the right, okay? We're looking for 12 to 15 repetitions on this one. And remember, the movement's actually going to be in the core, in the trunk, and not in the shoulders. How you feeling?
Oh, I can feel those love handles leaving
Good.
now.
All right, real quick, you can add a little bit of resistance on this one to make it a little more challenging. Just go ahead, grab your weights at home, and perform the exact same exercise with the exact same movement. All right, 12 to 15, 2 to 3 sets. And now it's your turn to get up and go.
For your copy of the exercise booklet, please send $1 for postage to Golden Opportunities, 23240 Chagrin Boulevard, Suite 450, Beechwood, Ohio, 44122.
Quality care is important at every stage of life, but the care you and your family receive as the end of life draws near can make a dramatic difference in how that time is spent. Diane Corman is the director of Vinnie Hospice and Palliative Care of Montefiore, and she's here to share the types of support available to those facing life-limiting illnesses. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
So let's start out some basic. How does hospice work?
Basically, hospice programs are designed to help people who are at the end of life and who are choosing comfort care primarily, and the focus is on that comfort care rather than on prolonging their life. And so it's an extraordinary service that really expands the availability of support for those families.
Okay, and it pulls in the patient and the family and the facility, if there is one, all giving this great support to this poor patient.
Which includes both symptom control, helping them with figuring out what they want next. It provides psychosocial and spiritual and pastoral care as well.
Okay. So what's the difference between hospice and palliative care?
Palliative care really denotes the focus on symptom control and helping people with their goals of care. Do they want to be resuscitated? Do they want to have extra feeding that is via tubes, let's say. And when you get when you have a life-limiting illness, it's very difficult to make those decisions without a lot of input from the healthcare team. So the palliative care program provides that. Now, hospice programs provide palliative care, but not all palliative care programs provide all of what hospice has to provide in the way of the extensive services. You can find palliative care in hospitals, in extended care facilities, in clinics, where they focus on those kinds of things, but people who have palliative care services may well be looking for more life-prolonging, aggressive plan of care. They're not ready for hospice yet.
Okay. And you were talking about the team. So hospice palliative care involves a team. You know, what are the highlights? And we're going to put up a list of some of those people. What are the main team players, I guess?
Well, every family and patient who are followed by a hospice team are followed by nurses. So they each have a primary nurse and other nurses who help to support them. Nurses' aides, social workers, pastoral care providers, volunteers. There's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week on-call process for available for every hospice family. And also, sometimes, and in our case, we have extra additional funds available to pay for all kinds of other therapies. Besides the normal physical therapy, occupational speech therapy, we also provide Reiki, massage, art therapy, and music therapy.
Huge. I know for 20 years or more, Montefiore has provided services at all different levels in the retirement community there. But you're now going to have an additional option for people, right? So tell us about what the new facility.
That's true. The Vinnie Hospice and Palliative Care Program was very lucky to be funded by the Vinnie family. And now the Maltz family has donated $1.5 million for us to build the Maltz Hospice and Palliative Care Pavilion, which is a new facility at Montefiore with all kinds of extra facilities to provide a home-like atmosphere, which includes, in addition to beautiful rooms for the patients and families, a meditation room, a child care room, living and dining rooms with open giant windows out to gardens, as well as a conference room, which would double as a room for families to stay as well if they want to spend the night.
Sounds like a fantastic investment and well needed in our community. So, at the most vulnerable of anyone's life, don't hesitate to reach out for the care and support provided by hospice or even palliative care. And now, thanks to Montefiore, you can choose to have that personal attention either where you live or on site in their new hospice facility. My thanks to Diane Corman for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
For more information, call the Vinnie Hospice and Palliative Care of Montefiore at 216-910-2650 or click to www.montefiorecare.org. Next, will your Medicare coverage travel with you?
Hilltop Village Apartments is retirement living at its best. Residents enjoy a wide variety of activities and living services with all large first-floor apartments, private screened-in patios with beautiful park views, daily dining room meals, free laundry facilities, 24-hour staff, and so much more. Enjoy safe, comfortable independence at a very affordable price. Call today for a tour and learn how you can get your first month's rent free. Hilltop Village Apartments, retirement living at its best.
Summer vacations are on the calendar for many seniors. If your travel takes you around the country, your Medicare health insurance goes with you. But what if you're heading outside of our borders? Are you covered? Here to ensure that we have the right answers and adequate health care protection wherever we land is my Medicareful law partner, Mike Solomon. Right. So, is Medicare going to pay for my health problems if I'm outside of the country?
Well, in most cases, the answer is no. It won't cover for hospital stays or medical costs or prescriptions if you're outside of the United States. Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico are covered. They're considered part of the U.S.
They're part of the U.S., okay. Okay, what if I get sick on a cruise?
Well, in some cases, many cases, Medicare Part B can cover you if you're on a cruise within the U.S. territorial waters, which is around 6 hours from a port.
Okay, so you can go pretty far out before you have a problem. And will that same Medicare supplement cover me when I'm, though, out of the country?
Well, it depends on the sort of Medicare supplemental insurance you have. There are different types. If you have plans C, D, E, F, G, it's all on the screen there, H, I, J, M, and N.
The
you have
alphabets?
yes, you almost have all the alphabet there. If you have those policies, it'll cover 80% of your cost with a $250 deductible. So now there are limits to that. First of all, it only covers the first 60 days of your trip. And secondly, they have a cap on it of $50,000. So it's pretty good, but there's a limit to it.
So don't go too long and don't get too sick.
That's right. Yeah. Or if you do, get it early on the trip.
Or is an alternative travel insurance? Can you buy insurance that will cover you when you're out of the country?
That's probably a very good thing to look at. You should find out if there is any travel insurance and the cost. You can contact a travel agent, or you can contact an insurance agent, a U.S. State Department, and on the screen there's a website. If you can figure that out, and you can get on the U.S. Website and figure out what sort of insurances are available.
Okay, so you can't just rely on your everyday normal Medicare
no, you
coverage.
shouldn't. If you're going to travel and you're going to spend all that money, you ought to make sure that you're...
So you think about trip insurance, think
Right.
about medical insurance
That's
as
right.
well. Wow, so there's a lot to think about when you're planning to
Yes.
go, especially overseas and you're a senior.
That's right.
Oh, all right. So when you're planning this, you can pack your sunscreen and your insurance so you don't get caught uncovered while on vacation. But for more information about your Medicare health options, you can also contact Medicare at 1-800-MEDICARE or go to medicare.gov.
Call Budish, Solomon, Steiner, and Peck at 1-888-236-5173 for more information or to schedule a speaker for your organization. Or log on to www.bssplaw.com.
Thanks for joining us. On next week's show, we'll prescribe important advice about managing your medications. We'll take stock of your investments and offer essential information. Is your posture a problem? We'll straighten out your bad back and we'll ensure that your health insurance is treating you well. But until then, please remember to make the most of your golden opportunities.
Would you like to join our kitchen conversation? All you have to do is call toll-free 1-877-765-1543 and leave us your question, name, and phone number. Or log on to www.golden.tv for all the latest information and show updates.